Hey, and welcome back to Financial Alien. We analyze the intersection of finance, power, and global conflict. Today, we turn our attention to Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation, where a severe domestic security crisis is quickly escalating into an international diplomatic standoff. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is struggling with inflation, a devaluing currency, and extremist violence, what many in the U.S. political sphere have framed as a mass killing of Christians. This crisis prompted a dramatic response from the Trump administration, an official designation of Nigeria as a religious persecutor and a direct threat of U.S. military intervention. Here is how Nigeria's security challenge spiraled into a global confrontation. For years, Nigeria has been gripped by a complex, brutal cycle of violence. While the Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast is well known, the central region, particularly Plateau State, has become a flashpoint for deadly attacks by armed groups, often targeting Christian communities. The human cost is staggering. Locals like Lawrence Jongo, a farmer in Miango village, speak of losing countless relatives and friends in mass attacks that have become a grim, unending reality. But experts in Nigeria stress that this crisis is multi-layered. It's not simply a religious war. The violence is driven by a toxic combination of poor governance, widespread unemployment, lack of basic infrastructure, and deep poverty. These are the systemic issues that allow extremist and criminal groups to flourish. In short, you can deploy all the security forces in the world, but unless you address these root causes, another group will rise tomorrow. This is the fragile context into which the U.S. government decided to step. Relations between Washington and Abuja hit their lowest point since the 1970s, following a swift escalation from the Trump administration. On October 31st, President Trump announced the redesignation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern, or CPC, for severe violations of religious freedom. This designation is an official diplomatic alarm bell that can pave the way for sanctions. But the escalation didn't stop there. A day later, Trump upped the ante with a post on his social media, threatening a guns-a-blazing U.S. military intervention in Nigeria and a full cutoff of all U.S. aid if the government failed to stop the alleged killing of Christians. This move was widely seen as a response to intense domestic political pressure. U.S. conservative Christian groups and lawmakers had been lobbying the administration for weeks to designate Nigeria, a theme that resonates strongly with a key part of Trump's evangelical base. For Nigerian President Tinubu, these threats could not have come at a worse time, making his diplomatic position extremely fragile. Washington was effectively questioning his government's fundamental ability to protect its own citizens. Trump's rhetoric boxed the U.S. into a potential, ill-fated intervention, and his focus on only one religious group risks deepening the very sectarian divisions he claimed to be addressing. The question is, how did Nigeria respond? The immediate pushback from Abuja was strong. The Nigerian government insisted that its territorial integrity must be respected and condemned the threat of foreign military intervention. Across the country, locals and experts were united in their belief that military intervention from outside was not the answer. They argue that Nigeria's solution must be Nigerian-led, focusing on scaling up interfaith and community mediation programs and tackling the governance drivers of insecurity. The feeling among many Nigerians, including Christians, was that the abrasive U.S. rhetoric was stirring anti-U.S. sentiment, and that Washington needed to moderate its pressure and keep the door open to constructive engagement, not blanket condemnation. Furthermore, the crisis risked turning into a wider geopolitical standoff. Beijing was quick to warn against any U.S. interference or use of force, highlighting the danger that U.S. policy could be exploited by rivals like China and Russia to expand their own influence in the region. As one African adage cautions, when two elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. In this case, ordinary Nigerians stand to bear the cost of great power rivalry playing out on their soil. The diplomatic crisis has thrust Nigeria into a global spotlight. President Tinubu must now walk a delicate tightrope, confront the extremist violence without inflaming sectarian divides, all while attempting to restore diplomatic trust with Washington. The outcome will determine whether Nigeria emerges stronger or whether its diversity becomes its death knell. We will continue tracking this volatile situation here on Financial Alien. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more analysis. Thanks for watching.